Welcome to the City Current Show. I'm your host, Andrew Bartolotta. We're always honored to bring you stories of individuals and organizations making an impact and powering the good in our community and around the globe. And today we're talking about being in front of the camera with the author of Be a Video Influencer, Reinvent Your Life in Business as a Midlife Movie Star, Suzanne Glover. Suzanne, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's such a pleasure to be here with you, Andrew. Thank you.
Before we talk about these tips and ways business owners, entrepreneurs, and sales professionals can be camera ready and expand their brand in front of the camera, give listeners a history for your career and the book you wrote.
Remember back in the 80s, there was a model named Cheryl Teagues, and people said I look like her. So I went into modeling because that's what I was supposed to do. Short-lived because you get too old for modeling very quickly. So I had to actually transition to camera, just like the people are doing today, where they were good in live person, but then all of a sudden they had to talk to the camera. So as a marketer, I had my own business when I was first business when I was 17 or 18. So I marketed myself right away and I got a local commercial. First time I had to talk to the camera, I froze like a deer in the headlights. So I understand what people are going through today because I was all right offline or, off camera. And then I had to become like this spokesperson person. And I was an adult. I was not a kid doing this. So then, okay, right away, I started feeling like, all right, I've got to dig deep. I've got to find ways to do this because if I want to continue my career, this is the only way I'm going to be able to do it. Much like people today, if they want to continue their career in business world, they've got to get on video. It's just the way it is. So I got kind of cocky. Well, I didn't get cocky at that point. At that point, I said, okay, because when I froze in front of the camera, I still remember the director, he dropped his head, shook it like, oh, what did I hire? And everyone's looking around at themselves like, this is going to be really bad. So I pulled it together and I just got, when you're in these auditions and shoots for 35 years, things just drop down from heaven into your head and you say, oh, I'm going to try that. I tried it. They were happy. It went on to become award-winning. And for 35 years, that's what happened to me in auditions. I just kept figuring out ways to talk in front of this camera, communicate, stand out. I am a salesperson, so I have integrated my sales skills to persuading people on this thing. And over the years, that's just, you're in the trenches. And now that the public is having to do this, I really, really, really am having a good time helping them because I had my own modeling and acting studio. I taught for Screen Actors Guild for about a decade. I did it inside the industry, helping people make money and train them to do it after I was doing it. But now the public has to do it. So I'm really excited to help people now segue my career from just inside the industry to being that bridge to help people outside the industry do this because you got to do it.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about camera anxiety. Many of us speak great in person, but freeze in front of the camera like you said you did in the beginning. Why does that happen and what can we do about it?
Okay, good question. Two-part. Why and how? What do we do? Why does it happen? Because here we are in front of, like right now, I've got lights. It looks like ET in front of me, I've toned down the lights, but I've got all sorts of camera lights. And so it's very intimidating. It's like you're in front of a firing squad. Plus this camera has lenses. So it actually, you look worse on camera than you do in person. You just do. I mean, I don't care if you just are really pretty in person or really handsome in person. Everything in life is magnified by this camera. So for example, I used to do headshots and I had a friend that I did headshot for because I was in the industry. I did headshots for clients, but I did one for a friend. And she said, oh, I don't want to wear any makeup. I said, yeah, you might want to wear some makeup. No, it makes my skin look bad. I said, okay, didn't wear it. First thing she said when she saw the proofs, what's wrong with my skin? Because it was like everything's red. See, so that's why are we anxious? One part, it's just not a natural thing. We're in front of ET and it's like a space suit that we're talking to. It's not a natural environment. Plus, there's a performance that it's really going to be there forever. It's not like it's going to go away tomorrow. It's a recording. And something in us about the fear of speaking is amplified, because the fear of speaking is like the number one fear. So now we're speaking in front of an unnatural situation where we don't get any feedback, because when you're a speaker in front of the audience, you're getting feedback all the time. You can read how they're saying, well, what are they doing? Oh, they're not. Okay, I got to amp this up now. They're not responding. This is like a little one-eyed monster looking at you, just going, I don't have anything to say to you, and you could be really bad, and people are clicking away, and all your self-talk does really bad things. So why it happens? It's a natural tendency. It's just not a natural situation. And everything that we already have inside of us about speaking is amplified. What can we do about it? We have to change. Okay, this is not about positive thinking. This is not about positive thinking. Do I need to say that again? It's not about positive thinking, because I'm a hypnotherapist and positive thinking doesn't necessarily work. So what you have to do is just be compassionate for yourself at first. Understand that you need to embrace it. You have to embrace this. Get some training on it. And I'm not saying me or whatever, but there are a lot of people out there that are really bad these days. So be careful. But have compassion for yourself. Know that you don't know how to do this. You're already thrown into this as a public without the right training. I wasn't even allowed in front of the camera without the right training. It was like a closed group. So you're trying to do something that's unnatural without the right training. And oh, wow, my business, it really depends on my being able to do this. So there's a lot of pressure. So first, have compassion for yourself and just start saying, here's the first trick. Instead of saying, what did I do wrong? What did I do right? What did I do right? What did I do right? And that will start your positive. I could go into this all day long, but we don't have that time. It's about training your brain to start looking for the positive, and it's especially true when you're doing this for the camera. So that's the first thing you can do. There's lots of things you can do, but that's the first thing.
I think that's great. And one thing that's different online is eye contact. So like right now I'm looking at that, the one-eyed monster, like you said, the camera lens that is straight into my laptop instead of looking straight at you, because if I did, then it would look like I'm looking off, because we are basically talking through this artificial intelligence computer to have this conversation that'll be broadcast. And so it's interesting that that there are different ways that you would present online and through applications like Zoom or Microsoft Teams, the different applications that you would use to talk to your coworkers or even present to an online audience than you would in person. And so that's something that is something that you need training for, and to be able to understand that this isn't something natural. And now in this world, it is becoming part of our daily lives. So we have to do it well to stay relevant and also sell our business and services. So why are you passionate about helping people excel at video now?
Because it's the number one challenge in business. Thank you very much. That it's the number one challenge. And like I just said, people aren't getting the right training because they're thrown into being the spokesperson all of a sudden, and they're not trained, right? So I'll give you an example. I actually talked to a person online or on the phone. I was going to sign up for some software online for my business. Spoke to the owner on the phone. Great guy, signed up. He did a live webinar on camera when he onboarded us. Whoa. I canceled. I would not. He lost his credibility. He was terrible. He wasn't taking the medium seriously enough to understand that everything that he had built offline, that credibility, that personality, everything that was really good offline, wow, he was so offensive. And he didn't even know he was. He was doing all the bad things. So that's why I'm so passionate about this, because I hate to see people shoot themselves in the foot when they don't even know what they're doing. and I can help them. And when I see somebody, for example, like the eye contact. So when I'm in a group, and I had one gal, I remember particularly, she was like all over the place, you know, just talking all over the place. And it's really like, you can't click, because those years, I'll say this real fast, all those years I was in front of the camera was VHS, right? The VHS tapes. So the producers, they weren't in the room when we were auditioning. They would watch the tapes afterwards, and there would be hundreds of people trying out for one spot. So they would fast forward. You had to catch their attention. You had to keep their attention before they would click away, which is the same thing that's happening now. People are going to click away. So I had one gal, she was like all over the place. And I'm thinking, I can't watch this. So I told her what to do. She got in line with the camera in a new way. And everyone in the group was like, wow, I couldn't take my eyes off her. It's a medium that has rules that make you look good and rules that make you look bad. So that's why I'm so passionate, because I just can't watch people. I love what I do. I love helping people. I can't watch them shoot themselves in the foot anymore.
Yeah, it's hard to watch people suffer when they're presenting online and they're doing the whole, there's a fly moving around in the room, and that's what your eye contact is doing. And so being able to build trust and credibility for your business and for your profession, to be able to have eye contact and to sit up straight and to have good lighting, all these tips really do make a difference. Even if you're selling something that someone may not believe in, you can convince them that they need it if you have some of these things in line and you're a great salesperson.
Exactly.
So one of the big things that I hear a lot as well is, oh, I'm too busy. I'm too busy to make time for video. How do we make time for video when we are so busy?
You change your concept of what it is. So again, it goes back to the understanding. So far, we've talked about understanding that you need to take this seriously and get good at it. So it's a mind shift. Again, it's a mind shift. If you do this right, it should save you time. But you know what happens is people, oh, I got to do a video for social media every day. I got to do a live. I got to do this. I got to do content. That's what's out there online. If you're approaching video strategically and only doing videos when you absolutely need a video to make a sale, and you're very strategic about what you put in the video and you have it down, it's like, okay, this is what I'm doing. You have a map. So you're not all over the place. I had one client that she did 600 videos in 5 years. Yeah. And she was going nowhere. She's like, she gets on live, she does all this content. She wasn't making any money because the misconception about video. Now listen, the misconception about video is this, that you have to do it all the time, that it's okay to just click on your phone and talk because that's what everyone's doing with your sunglasses, and that you really, really just need to be yourself. Okay, those are misconceptions. And I said, okay, I'm going to get a lot of kickback about you really need to be yourself. You do need to be yourself, but at the same time, there's a way to find out who you are as yourself on this camera. I know that sounds really strange, but the camera amplifies energy. So you have to find the right energy for the camera. And I've worked on my smile for decades. And when I have a client say, okay, I had that same client, her husband was on the call with us. And I said, you sound like this, just like really bad. And I said, I want you to do this, this, and this. And she did it. She says, this feels really bad. I go, hubby, what does it look like? He goes, wow, what a difference. I said, what are you seeing? He says, I'm seeing a very, very competent person. I'm seeing approachable. I like her. It's like a whole different scenario. And all it was what I did with her mouth.
I love the tip that you said that video emphasizes your personality and who you are and what you're doing. And that tip of really we do so many interviews at cityCURRENT, and a lot of the time they have so many great stories, but if the person that's giving that interview they don't smile or they're nervous, you can tell through the interview. And sometimes you just want to reach through the computer and just shake them and say, and smile, it's okay. So that's
I'm going to interrupt you. So I'm going to answer that. So how do we make time? We are strategic, And we do tricks like that, that make it easier so that we're not trying to do 600 videos without success. We do 1, 2, we do 6 or 7, or we do 10 or 20 or 60, but we don't do 600 and keep failing. That's my point.
Because of the pandemic and having virtual work and remote work and being able to having the opportunity to not having to drive to the office or a place where you can meet and you can meet online, it's only beneficial to you when you can meet online and you have these great tips that Suzanne is giving us with lighting and energy and smiling. And so that's a huge part of it. Suzanne, what puts a smile on your face when you look at the work that you've been able to accomplish and help others?
Oh, it's just such a satisfaction and fulfillment inside to take all those years, 35 years of being a struggling actress, right? You know, you're just begging for work through the camera, basically. And to take all that experience and be able to now segue it. Yeah, I help people in the industry. Sure. Okay. But now it's just blossoming because so many people need this. And I just enjoy what I do so much. It's wonderful. It's so satisfying. It's very fulfilling when I see someone transition just like that. And then they have success, because this is going to keep evolving. It's going to keep evolving. So what's okay today is not going to be okay tomorrow. Just like when I was in the industry, you know, a decade ago or 3 decades ago, it was VHS. Now everyone has a computer and camera in their pocket. What's going to be in another 10 years? So I just love what I do because I'm helping people step ahead of where everyone is now and looking to the future. And I just love it. I just love it. I just love it.
Well, we can see that you exude the passion, and being able to help others is so satisfying. And like you said, seeing someone online with a frown and not smiling or no eye contact, to then being able to exude competence and confidence to be able to provide information for their company and sell their products. I mean, that is such huge passion.
There's something about overcoming a major challenge that helps them get this amazing confidence in life. And that's why in my book, I say, reinvent your life and business as a midlife movie star. That's what happens.
And just being able to see people's lives change, how fulfilling. Suzanne, where can people go to learn more about you, your training, and receive your book?
Okay, thank you, Andrew. So SuzanneGlover.com is my website, SuzanneGlover.com, SuzanneGlover.com. And I do have my book that I'm going to give your listeners free.
Awesome.
Yeah, I do this as a special thank you for interviews. So the way you get the free book, because if you go to my regular site, you have to buy it. If you want the free copy, it's SuzanneGlover.com/free book, FREEBOOK. And of course, I'm on LinkedIn as Suzanne Glover.
Awesome. Well, I encourage our audience to connect with you and learn more about connecting and being more present and lively online with videos to really help you not only on camera, but off as well. Suzanne, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you, Andrew. It was a pleasure.